Yeah, we're looking at RSI strategy. We have two mode which we are going to use. We're going to use the signal line, which is 50, and for the signal line, for us to buy and sell, we need RSI signal line to go above the 50 line. Then we take a buy. So whenever the the signal line, that's RSI itself, crosses this 50 level signal line, we'll take a buy. Now at this point, this is where the RSI crossed above the signal level, which is 50. So on that candle, we are expected to buy, and our exit should be on the sell entry, or we could either wait till the exit point, which is above the sell entry. Now the point is this: from the signal line, which is the 50 line, down to the 70 level, which is your sell entry, you are already making 12.2 pips, and we all know that 12.2 pips, it's 1000 naira on US 100. So whenever you place a trade, you're expected to aim at 12.2 pips. So on that candlestick, from that price 14151.51 down to our sell entry, it's more than 12.2 pips. So let's take a look at it. That was our entry price when the candle opened, down to the tip of the candle where the highest price the candle move was 13.9 pips. So just on that candle, which is on a 5-minute candle, we've already made 1000 naira. So you are not limited to how much you can make. You could make 1000 naira on one candlestick. You could make 5,000, 100,000, whatever thousand you want. But the point is, if you're waiting till the exit, you're definitely going to make more than that. So from our entry price, which is 14151.50, gave us 32.1 pip. So we know how much 32.1 pip at 0.01 to 12.2 pips is times 2 is 24.2, which is going to be 2000 naira. So on that 32 point something pips, we should be making approximately 2009 or 3000 plus on that trade. So from our signal line, so if you're buying using the signal line, you should exit on the sell entry, or if you want to extend your profit, you wait till RSI gets to the exit point. So that's for a buy. Now let's take a look at the sell signal. So at this point, RSI started moving downward, and it crossed below the 50 level. Now from that 50 level down to the buy entry is more than 12.2 pips. So all you need to do is, whenever RSI crosses the 50 level, you sell. That crosses below the 50 level, all you're expected to do is sell, and your exit you're aiming at 12.2 pips. So this is where the candle opened. That was where we got our sell signal. So from that price 14175.47, that was our entry price for a sell, and the market moved 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So for 40 minutes the market moved a good volume, which is from our signal down to the next exit. So it crossed our buy entry, which is where we are supposed to exit from. So let's check how many pips the market moved on this level. 1000 something pips. So on that candle we made that candle moved 21 point something pips. So even just on that candle, you can make your 1000 naira comfortably, you can make your 5000 naira comfortably. All you need to do is know whatever you're risking. Just know your risk value. So at this point, just that candle alone has given us more than 12.2 pips, which is more than 1000 naira if you're trading at 0.01. If you're trading at 0.10, that's 10,000. At 1.0, it's 100,000 naira. So that market moved down to that point. That's from our signal line. It drops down to the buy entry, which is supposed to be our first exit. So if you wanted to extend your profit, you could wait till RSI gets to our exit point, the main exit point, which is at the 20 level, before you exit the market. So for a buy trade, you place a buy when RSI crosses above the signal line. That's the 50 level signal line. So that's when you place a buy trade. Now from that point, RSI got to the sell entry and also exceeded that price. So our buy entry, we got 16 point something pips, so which is more than 12.2 pips. So on that candlestick, those two candles, you're able to make 1000 naira at 0.01, which is 12.2 pips. So the point is, whenever it crosses the signal line, now the market got to 881.6 pips. That's the volume the market got to. So the whole idea is using RSI as a strategy for buying and selling. Now this is the volume that went. So from that our buy entry, if we had waited for 40 minutes, we would have made massive profit in the market. But the most important thing is doing the right thing. So from your buy entry, which is we assume we are taking the trade from the signal level, which is when RSI crossed the signal, the 50 level going upward, it gave us a buy trade. So the first strategy has to deal with the signal line. Then the second strategy is when you're using the sell entry to execute your trade and you're exiting on your signal line, or you extend your exit down to the next exit, which is at 20 below your buy entry. So the second strategy for this has to do with what's it called, using your buy entry and your sell entry. Your buy entry, which is located at 30, and your sell entry located at 70. So if we were using the buy entry, the markets gave us 1130 something pips. So from your buy entry down to the exit, which lasted for 40 minutes, would have given us 1130 something pips. So that's the advantage for waiting longer in the market. But remember, the market won't always go in your favor. It won't always go on that same volume. So the most important thing is take the profit you're seeing at the moment and leave. That's the most important thing. So we are through looking at the buy, moving from the buy to the exit. Now let's take a look at the sell scenario. After markets got to our exit, which is at 80, the market dropped from that 80 downward. Now remember, from if you're taking a sell, you need to take your sell below the sell entry, which is below 70. That is where your sell come into. So on this bearish candle, that was where we got a signal to sell US 100. So from that point down to the next candle, which is below 10 minutes, we're able to generate, I believe, more than 12.2 pips. So let's confirm if that's actually 12.2 pips or more. So from that candle down to the lowest price this candle went was 17.2 pips, which is more than 1,000 naira made on that trade. So if that was your entry price, your sell entry, would have made more than 1,000 naira. So for the second phase of Rsi strategy, you can use your sell entry, which is your 70 level, below your 70 level, to trade. So once price crosses the sell entry down to the signal, you should exit. So we still have some funny situation whereby the market won't go all in your favor, but the most important thing is have a trading plan or a strategy, knowing when to trade and when not to. It's very, very important. So for this point, for this now, so after we made the profit of 17.2 pips, the market pushed up from our signal, giving us a buy. So from that signal level down to the sell entry, which is supposed to be your first take profit if you have two positions open. So from that point down to the exit was 30 pips, 30.2 pips or 37. So here you can make more money. The main thing is for you to know when to enter the trade and when to leave. So on different time interval from that point where RSI told us to buy, which is 14258.75 at that price. So that was when RSI gave us a signal to buy. So from that point down to the highest point, the first high, or we actualized more than 20 pips in the market. So from this point down to our sell entry should be our first exit, which is more than 12.2 pips. So on that trade now, you should be expecting, let's say, 1,500 or 1,000 on that particular trade. So from here we had a buy down to our sell entry, which should be our first take profit, while the main exit at 80 should be our take profit 2. That is if we have two positions open. So it's always important to pay attention to our signal line. Then at this point we had a sell signal. When RSI crossed below the 50 level, it moved down to the buy entry, which is our take profit 1, also heading towards the exits. So on that candlestick, that was where RSI gave us a sell entry. Now also it also corresponded with moving average. which gave us that moving average 10, which gave us our entry price also. So you can combine moving average and RSI. So the market dropped more than 12.2 pips and we were profitable on that trade. Now all these are happening on 5 minutes. I think 5 minutes filters more than 1 minute. So let's, on this strategy you have to focus on 5 minutes on a lower time frame. So that this region is more than 12.2 pips. So when RSI crossed below the moving average, below the signal line, you sell. Your buy entry should be your take profit 1, while your exits should be your take profit 2. So even at this point, we had our crossover. Let's say you're combining your buy entry, taking a trade on your buy. Now from that buy entry to your signal should be your take profit 1. Okay. And to the sell entry should be your take profit 2, while the exit should be your take profit 3.